Is Mazda's hybrid better than Honda's hybrid? We're going to find out in today's video. I'll include a link to the Larry Miller Honda's website in the description down below. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Powering the Honda is a 2-liter 4-cylinder paired to a hybrid. Fuel economy is 40 around town, 34 on the highway, with power outputs being 204 horsepower combined. Powering the Mazda is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder paired to a hybrid. Fuel economy is 39 around town, 37 on the highway, with power outputs being 219 horsepower combined. I'm trying to hit 500,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I'd really appreciate it if you'd help out with that. The Mazda has this large, kind of muscular designed hood. Honda's is a lot more angular and tapered off. And look at the headlight design with the Mazda and the grille as well, really sharp. Again, the Honda, you can see it kind of points all towards the center. Now the Mazda actually has a lot of plastic cladding at the bottom. The Honda does have some as well, but more painted parts overall. But I think overall, for being crossovers, they both have pretty cool looking front ends. Tire wheel setup on the Honda is 235 by 60 by 18. The Mazda is 225 by 55 by 19. Now the Honda has these cool blacked out mirror caps, chrome trim around the windows, and the blacked out wheels all come together to lead to a cool look. The Mazda has a lot of nice elements and it has this kind of wide body appearance, especially with those chunky fender flares. The cargo area in the Mazda is quite large, and you actually get storage underneath with a spare tire. You also have these tabs to throw out on the seats for more storage. The Honda also has a large cargo area. It looks a little bit smaller, and you do not get a spare tire underneath the loading floor, but you can throw down the seats. Now the back end of the Mazda has this lowered, kind of tapered off, wide appearance, whereas the Honda definitely sits a little bit taller, has that more kind of traditional SUV appearance. Nice trim on the door panel here with the Mazda. And the seats in the Mazda are also pretty fancy. We'll compare the legroom. Mazda, I got my knees touching. I do have vents here in the back and USB ports as well. Nice looking door panel with the Honda too. And I'd say these seats are pretty fancy looking with the stitching. Honda doesn't have that much more room, but it does have more legroom and a little bit more headroom. Not that much though. You got vents and USB ports as well. Pretty cool cross stitching design on the front door panel with the Mazda, and the mirrors do power fold in. They also have blind spot monitoring. Look at these seats, nice perforated trim all down the center. Again, more of that cross stitching. And the Mazda does come with memory seats. Nice trim all over the door panel with the Honda too. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors, and then you've got memory seats too. More nice trim all over the seats themselves. And let's start up the Mazda. Look at that fancy trim on the steering wheel all around. And of course there's practical controls for the cruise control, controls for the center stack, volume controls too. Really cool triple gauge layout with a digital element in the center there. This also has a heads up display and just nice trim across the dash. Just a regular backup camera in reverse. The infotainment system is actually kind of hard to see. There's a bit of glare, but it's not touchscreen, it's all controlled via a dial. More fancy cross stitching all across the dash, and then you can see our dual zone climate controls, heated and ventilated seats too. We also have a bunch of controls in the center stack, including an EV mode, and then this is for the infotainment system, by the way. And there's also drive modes too. I like the trim here in the center console. It's got this like double lid opening setup, which is interesting. And then we do have a panoramic sunroof up top too. Let's now start up the Honda. Nice trim all around the steering wheel itself with the Honda. We also have stuff like adaptive cruise control, controls for the center stack, and there's actually pedals for the regen. Digital gauge cluster in the center, well, I guess half analog, half kind of digital in a way. Backup camera in reverse. And as for the infotainment system, it's quick to respond, and it is a touchscreen. Cool kind of design across the dash. We've got our dual zone climate controls, heated seats only. Got a nice phone charging pad shifter here, and then you've got your little drive mode select in that area. A little bit of storage here, big center console as well. Again, more nice trim on the top of that. And just a regular sunroof up top, nothing crazy with that. The Mazda stickers for about 41,000, the Honda's about 40,000. Let's see how they perform. Well, let's drive the CR-V first. And we'll drive the Mazda second. I actually like the little hybrid sound this makes. It's kind of cool. It's kind of a cool sound. I do like the climate controls in this too. Definitely kind of a nice upscale finish to them. I'm going to pop it in the B mode, so this will give us regen, which is kind of cool, and use the paddles to make it more or less aggressive. It's not like a full-on one pedal drive, but it's, you know, for a standard hybrid, it's actually pretty good. Now, one thing that I do like about Honda's hybrids, and we'll see this with the acceleration section, Honda took a lot of the performance from the Acura NSX hybrid and they put it into the regular cars. So what that does is It has dual clutch, and when you have a transmission like that, right, you've got torque gaps when the car's changing gears. Now, dual clutch shifts pretty quickly, but there's still a little bit of a torque gap. So they use the electric power to fill the torque gap, and this does the same thing with the transmission, where as it's transitioning, the EV kind of fills that torque gap during the transition, so it's very seamless with the acceleration. It's very impressive. Ride quality's good, it's smooth. I'm not sure why Honda's not throwing cooled seats. They're pretty stingy with using cooled seats, I've noticed. Not sure what that's all about. Braking's smooth. So, it's a plus. And it's pretty, I mean, this is a pretty insulated cabin overall for the segment this is in. And this is ultimately just a unibody crossover at the end of the day. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, the biggest thing is how smooth this is in terms of the impressive nature of it. But it is slightly less efficient than the Mazda. It's not like a huge difference. I guess it's a big difference on the highway, but the overall fuel economy, it's not the biggest difference on the planet. Are we ever going to get through here? What's going on? I have never seen a line this long going through here before. I guess this will show you the benefit of a hybrid, because we've been in EV. We've been in EV mode the whole time. So you're not using gas while you're stuck in bumper to bumper for no reason. Let's get our little accelerator. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get a big one. I'm gonna go really slow because there's no one behind me, and let this diesel get out of the way. Homie's driving slow. It's okay though. Super, like the transition's just boom, super crisp. So yeah, anyways, the CR-V hybrid drives really well, but the one downside of how this performs is you do lose a little bit of efficiency. So, you know, you get a smooth drive, you get good power delivery, really good power overall, but you are going to lose a little bit of efficiency. And then, you know, the packaging in the back, right, not being able to have the spare tire and everything, that is a little bit of a downside too. But man, this powertrain's slick. Well, CX-50. Let's see how this, I'm going to turn up the temperature quite a bit so it doesn't get too loud with the fan. Seriously? There's no way the cabin's, come on. How hot do we have to go? There we go. 82 degrees. Okay. So right off the bat, like I said, the smooth factor. This isn't quite as smooth as the Honda with the engine. You can feel it instantly. Now this isn't bad. I mean, these hybrids are really good. But yeah, definitely doesn't have the same smooth feeling. Not bad though. Not bad at all. Seats in the Honda I think are a little bit more comfortable than these seats in the Mazda. So that's a plus for the Honda. I do think this interior might feel a little bit more upscale, but it's not that big of a difference. And again, this is smooth. And just something to note, I've been averaging over 40 miles per gallon, so better than the EPA average. I remember I had a Honda hybrid for a week, and I think I averaged about what the EPA said. Now this, I don't think this has a, I mean, I've got a normal power and trail mode, and I have an EV mode that I can go into, but I don't have like a B mode. I've got a manual mode. So you can tell Mazda's kind of focusing more on a little bit of sportiness rather than full-on efficiency. The low-end torque's really good though. This probably feels like it has a little bit more. It's not a huge difference. Maybe a little bit more than the Honda in terms of power, but it's really not a big difference. They're both very, very similar. I think this might ride a little bit better too. The Honda's still really, it's so close. Like these unibody crossovers all almost drive the same. Like if you blindfold someone and put them in a RAV4, put them in a CR-V, put them in a CX-50, put them in a Ford Escape. I mean, if they can't like touch the interior, but they just like the driving dynamics, that's all they can perceive. Yeah, they'd be like, oh, these are pretty much all the same. Yeah, shockingly similar. Yeah, there's your EV mode. So I guess in conclusion, I wish if the Honda had cooled seats, kind of lean towards that. This seems like it's a better value because you get panoramic sunroof plus cooled seats in the Honda and a spare tire, and the Honda doesn't have that. And this is like a little bit more than the Honda, but it's not that much more. It's like for a little bit of extra money, you get those features. Like panoramic sunroof, most manufacturers will charge like $1,000+ for that. So let me know if you go Honda or Mazda. I think the Mazda actually might be a little bit of a better value, but I do prefer the powertrain performance in the Honda in terms of the smoothness. But I definitely like the power in the Mazda. Let me know your thoughts.